I'm not going to deny trans people as women.
Can womanhood then just be appropriated? Someone can then say, I am what you are. So Dylan Mulvaney, who's a biological man who thinks he's a preteen woman, is he a woman?
I feel like I'm just not in the position to tell him he's not a woman. If he says, if they say that they are a woman, I have no, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, are you a woman? Are you a man? That's nothing to do with me, honestly.
Got it. So if I'm 30, if I said I was 12, would you acknowledge that?
Yes, I would. It's kind of like a mental illness. Like, you know how someone could be 30 and they could truly believe they're 12. Like, those people really exist. It's a mental illness.
Great point. So if somebody, you're in healthcare, came to you and they said, I'm anorexic, so I think I'm fat. And they said, I want liposuction. Should you give them that surgery?
Of course not, because that would be compromising their actual health.
Hold on. But you just said that we have to affirm somebody's mental illness. They want liposuction. Why shouldn't they get it? Wouldn't it make more sense to treat the person and say, you're not what you think you are, rather than affirming the lie that they think they're something else? In trans care, a 14-year-old can get their breast removed if they think they're another sex, if they think it. No. So the question is, when it comes to trans people, why don't we treat their brain instead of their body?
It will always be amusing listening to the trust the science people attempting to define what a woman is. Don't believe me? Watch for yourself.
Your sperm don't make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality, in truth.
Whose truth are we talking about?
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
If I see a chicken laying eggs and I say that's a female chicken laying eggs, did I assign female, or am I just observing a physical reality that's happening in the world?
Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry?
Well,
Does a chicken commit suicide?
A chicken has sex like any biological organism.
A chicken has an assigned gender, but a chicken doesn't have a gender identity.
So we assign female to chickens when they lay eggs?
We assume they're female if they lay eggs.
And if you want to watch more of this gender ideology mess, make sure to subscribe to Daily Wire Plus today to stream What is a Woman? You're gonna love it.
I'm a feminist, and I don't hate men.
Okay, so you are a self-described feminist. What is a woman?
Why do you want to know?
I'm infinitely curious.
What's a man?
You're looking at one.
Why do you think that that's important to you, what a man and a woman is?
So
do you treat men and women differently?
Well, it depends in what context, though. Politically, no. Under the law, no. Should they treat it differently in societal customs and norms? Yes.
Why?
Like, we should open doors for women. We should honor and protect women.
I want to honor and protect you, man.
Okay, great.
Do you
Thank
not
you.
honor and
Women are
protect
worthy
it?
of protection. Can you tell me what a woman is, since you're a feminist?
You're saying these things because you're trying to get a gotcha.
You're
okay,
a feminist. Shouldn't you be able to tell me what a woman is?
I'm a feminist.
Isn't that probably
because...
important to feminism? What is the woman that you're trying to advance and protect?
Bruh.
Isn't that integral to? Is that the whole feminist project? The war
Asking
against
what a woman is the only way that you can get a gotcha over everybody else. Why is it so important to you to define things in certain categories? How does that help your day-to-day life? Like
what other categories in the human species are there besides male and female?
Well, I just think that categorization is usually unhelpful when we're trying to improve society, right?
I have XY chromosomes.
Okay.
Can I give birth?
No, you can't.
Bingo. That's why categorization matters.
All right, people, check it out. I don't know how many of you guys have women in your family that are, let's say, under the age of 30, or, you know, between the ages of, let's say, 15 and 30. If you do have women in your life that are between those age ranges, you need to make sure that they understand, and you might actually be a woman within that age range. Either way, you need to make sure that you understand if you're a woman, or that the women in your life understand that most of the guys that they are like really attracted to, like they say, oh, like that's that guy, he's so hot, he's so handsome, I want to get with that guy. Most of the guys that those women are going to try and date, most of those guys are actually gay, or they have gay tendencies. And here's what I mean. You obviously, as a woman, know that no man is, like, if he's a good looking guy, like let's say he's tall, he's handsome, so on and so forth, you're obviously not the only woman that he's either talking to or, you know, interested in or anything like that. Like, you know, there's other women that he himself is pursuing, but you also know that there's other women who are pursuing him. Well, here's the deal. In 2024, we are so far into the LGBTQRS agenda that most of the Gen Zs and the young millennials, they've been told to accept homosexuality or else there's going to be consequences, right? So they've been told to accept this. It's been put in their face. They go to school with these people. They go to middle school, high school. They play sports with these people. They share locker rooms with these people. They go to college with these people, right? It's the whole gamut. So they're very, like they are very familiar with these people, and they've gotten comfortable with these people. So you have to understand, all of a sudden, the men that you like, and keep in mind, we're talking about men of a certain age group and women of a certain age group. We're talking about 30 and under. This ain't for old folks. Like me, I'm 40. I'm out the game. This is for old folks. Or this is not for old folks. It's for younger people who are expected to be heavy into dating, like high schoolers and young adults. You have to understand that since these young men have been told to accept homosexuality and they've been shamed for resisting it and not accepting it, they've gotten comfortable with it. So now, not only are they pursuing women and women pursuing them, there's a realistic and meaningful probability that there's going to be trans women, trans girls pursuing that same guy that you're into. There's going to be gay men pursuing that guy that you're into. And keep in mind, they're not allowed to say no. They're not allowed to viciously and viscerally turn those people away. Otherwise, we call them homophobic. And there's this new, I don't know if it's new to me. There's this thing called femboys. Now, you can look that up on X. You can look that up on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. You can look that up on your own time. The reason I mention that is because these femboys, they are gay men who dress like girls, but there's a very particular aesthetic that they have. Now, I'm going to get to that later. It's actually meaningful that I mention that because of the space that they occupy. Anyways, when you, as a woman, if you're a woman, you're dating, you are now dealing with men. You're either dealing with guys in high school, guys in college, or guys in the working world who have been told they're not allowed to resist homosexuality, transgenderism. They're not allowed to be visceral against it. Like they can't aggressively reject it. So they have to be comfortable with these people and whatnot. So they can't forcefully, get these people out of their presence or talk against these people. So those people can come up and start hitting on them, and they have to graciously deny those people. When they're in friend groups and circles, you might be friends with those people, and you can't disassociate with them. So what ends up happening is those guys that you like, there's a likelihood that they might like some of those people. Now, we know what gay men look like. They look like men, but they're just gay. But the trans people, the trans women, trans girls, most of the time you can tell like that's a guy, but right? They still try to mimic the female form. And the femboys, like I said, look that up for yourself. They definitely put on the whole female aesthetic, and then they occupy the gamer space. So all the gamer guys, that's what they're looking at. Not all of them, but a decent amount of them. A lot of those people are in the gaming space. A lot of them are in the anime space. When TwitchCon and Comic-Con come to San Diego, those people flock. They come out in droves, right? And hey, do whatever you want. I'm not here to stop you. What I'm simply saying is, as a woman, the man that you're gonna deal with, that tall guy, the handsome guy, whatever, when they're young, they're dealing with those people. I'm not here to bust anybody out like that. I'm just telling you, a lot of these dudes, a lot of the Gen Z guys, they are dealing with not so much gay men, like straight up gay men, but they're dealing with transgender women. They're dealing with the femboys. Once again, you have to look that up for yourself. It's because of the aesthetic it's important that I mention that, because they're in those spaces. They're in those digital spaces with those people. Those people are on their college campuses. Those people are, if you're in the military, those people are in the military, right? Those are all the weirdo anime people, except they happen to be gay and very, very effeminate. Here's the deal. As a woman, you think that you're not going to be attracted to a gay man. But society has told boys and men to be gay, and it has shamed them for not being gay. It shamed them for, rejecting homosexuality. Now you have to deal with men who are sharing spaces with these people, and who knows if they're going to get curious or not. Now, the reason I'm even making this video is because I'm here to tell you 110%, 1000%, the men that you guys like are dealing with femboys, which are just extremely effeminate gay men who have an anime gamer aesthetic, and trans people. I work at nightclubs. I've worked many parties. I've done many photo shoots. I've done many car shoots, music videos, the whole nine. And there's never a time when I don't see the traditionally masculine guy trying to hit on women here, trying to hit on women there when he's out at the clubs, him and his friends. And then what happens is they see that trans person, or they see that, femboy type person, and that person is actually going to be the one who makes the first move. And then the guy will be like, nah, I'm good. But throughout the night, you see that person find a reason to kind of orbit that person. They bump into him again on accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, they strike up a conversation over something real stupid. And then all of a sudden you see the trans person leave the club. You see the femboy person leave the club. And then that guy leaves shortly after. And then they both hit the parking lot. And then they come back like 30 minutes later. Right? This stuff happens. This stuff happens. It happens a lot. You're sharing, like, as a woman, you're sharing men. You've always been sharing men with other women. But now you have to understand, you're sharing them with effeminate men, gay men, trans women. Like, you're sharing. And I'm just telling you, when you're dealing with these young people, these Gen Zs, and the reason I say 15 to like 30 is because in high school, it's all over the high schools. It's all over the high schools. Then they go to college, and it's all over the college. Like, I live in San Diego. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but out here in San Diego, man, the chances of you finding a dude that hasn't done something with one of these kinds of people, it's almost zero. Like, it is almost zero. Like, you've told them to be okay with this. You've told them to accept this. Then you told them the only men who matter are the rich men and the tall men, or the this men and the that men. So what do you think is going to happen when a person isn't tall and rich, but they're kind of tall? They're like 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". They're the gym rat. They're the gym bro. But all they have is games, alcohol, and free time. This is why I mentioned the femboys who occupy the digital space. Because they're going to be watching that person on stream, or they'll be watching that person's TikToks and whatnot when they're gaming. Because all they got if they're in college, all they got is Call of Duty and study time. That's all they got. All they have time to do is play video games, because they can't really get out there. They can't really get out. They don't have the car. They don't really have no money to impress nobody, and the girls are rejecting them at every single level. But you know who's around? The local. The other loser guys who decide to be hyper feminine, I call it. But the femboys, like, once again, I'm not putting that on my channel. You look that up for yourself so you understand what I'm talking about. But those people they're on the same college campus. So all of a sudden, this person is on Twitch or on Kick or whatever game streaming site, and they're playing Call of Duty, or they're watching somebody play Call of Duty, and the person that they're watching, the streamer, has that femboy aesthetic. So they're watching that for hours on end. And you've told them not to reject that. You've told them to be okay with that. They went to high school with people like that. So all of a sudden, their curiosity turns into desire. And now they're looking for that. Well, they can't go out to the club, and you won't go on a date with them, and you won't do nothing with them. So they might gravitate toward that. I'm saying might, but I'm telling you that's what's happening. That's 100% what's happening. And it's happening in very large numbers. And by the time they can actually get the car, and by the time they have the job, and they're out there in the world, and they're 23, 24, 25, young professional, they've already been dealing with those kinds of people, the transgenders and the highly effeminate men. They've been dealing with that. So when you won't date them, guess who they go to? They go to the transgender. They go to the hyper feminine gay guy. Because believe it or not, that person's going to cook food for them and act. That person does everything they do, or they do everything they can to act like a woman. Like all of the traditional woman stuff, that person does. Right. So it's basically like they're in woman face. It's a man in woman face. So they're cooking and cleaning and all of this. They give them that treatment, and that person says, "Oh, this is okay." Now they don't want to come out. They don't want to come outside like that, but they're still doing that. So now what happens is you're in your later 20s and you're ready to settle down. You find this guy and you get with this guy, and maybe you never find out, but this dude has been with men. This dude has been with gay men. He's been with transgender women, gay men, right? He's done that. And I'm not trying to shame nobody. Like if that's what you into, do you? But what I'm saying is for women, which is, like I said, this video is mostly for women, you might want to lock a dude down like now, and you might want to stop the hookup culture, because most of these guys are gay anymore. And like I said, it's mostly 15 to 30. Those people who are the most active daters, those are the ones who are really doing that, because those are the ones who are at the nightclubs. And yes, like I said, the gay people are at the nightclubs. I don't know how it is in your city, wherever you might be from, but out here in San Diego and LA, for whatever reason, after COVID, all the like everything was shut down during COVID. So after COVID, all the gay neighborhoods, which in California, every major city has like a prominent gay neighborhood. In San Diego is Hillcrest, right? So all the gay neighborhoods, they used to have a party district, like they used to have a party section. Well, after COVID, for whatever reason, like the gay district never opened back up, or it opened back up like a couple months after everyone else. So all the trans women, all the trans people, all the gay men and women, all the femboys, I keep mentioning that because you need to understand that aesthetically it's different from everything else. And like I said, the space they occupy is unique compared to everything else. So all of those people just started matriculating to the traditional straight spaces, and they kind of just never left. And like I said, you got a lot of people coming out of high school. They go to the military, now they're in a military town, or like San Diego's a big military town, and they got some money on them. They are going out to the 18 and up bar, right away. Or they're going to the 21 to 25 bar, and those people are there. And like I said, if you're young, you went to boot camp with those kind of people. If you're young, you're in college with those kind of people. You went to high school with those kinds of people. So this is what you're dealing with. As a woman, the chances of you dealing with a man who has dealt with or is actively dealing with gay men and trans women is sky high. Like everybody on YouTube, on these dating podcasts, they talk about rotation. Like they got 4 or 5 people in a rotation that they're dating and sleeping with. Well, yeah, that tall guy, the gym rat guy, the tall guy, the handsome guy, they all have a rotation, even though you don't think so. But it just so happens it's trans women, it's femboys, it's gay men. I'm telling you, you might want to start taking dating a little bit more serious, because there's like a huge, I would be comfortable saying like 85% chance that you're dating a man who's been with men. And most women are not okay with that. I can say with certainty, I've never met what I would consider a normal woman. I've never met a normal woman who's okay dating a man, like an openly gay man, like an openly bisexual man. I've never met that woman. Most women are not okay with dating a guy who's been with guys or who actively sleeps with guys. And that's what femboys are. That's what transgender women are, right? That's what they are. And that's what you're going to be dealing with, right? Like you told them to accept it. Not saying you, just saying like, the government, right? Society. You said to accept this. You pushed it on them and in middle school. If it was on them in high school. It's on them in college. It's on them when they go to the military. It's on them when they go to the professional world. and then every male who's coming behind them, Generation Alpha, they're all on the same thing. So now you have to compete. If you're a woman, now you have to compete with every other woman, but you also have to compete with the men who, you know, are gay in various forms and fashions. So, do with this information what you will. Like I said, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm just trying to let you know that you might want to date with intention, because most of these dudes are turning toward that because it's been in their face for so long. If they can't get with a real woman, they're gonna turn to what they can get. And if you say I only date guys who are 6'5" and up and they're rich, well, these dudes they're not gonna stay lonely forever. Like, they're gonna do something, especially when you've told them that it's okay and that they're wrong if they don't accept it. So you don't know what they're doing in the dark. Like I said, if I didn't clarify this, they're not doing this openly. They're sneaking around and doing it. But like I said, I work in the party and nightlife industry. So when I'm out, I'm sober. Y'all aren't sober, so y'all don't necessarily see what each other is doing. I see the guy sneaking away to get with the trans girl in the parking lot for a couple dollars. And I see the guy sneaking away with the femboy to do the same thing. I see that. I see it all the time. I do parties on college campuses. I work parties on college campuses. I do all kinds of video work on college campuses. I see it all the time. So I'm just letting you know, the kind of guy that you like, that you think would never get with a guy, that ain't the case. Once again, this is for 30 and below, for the most part. So do with this information what you will. Understand I'm not trying to hate. You might want to date intentionally. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, get back at me on the next one, and